Okay, everybody, Cinephile Mike is here, and it is episode 24 of Oscar Rewind Season 2, my bi weekly series of videos dropping every Tuesday and Friday, where I revisit the films that reflect the work of this past year's Oscar nominees and winners. I dig deep into those IMDb profiles, and my hope is that you will discover a new, older favorite or maybe revisit something you haven't seen in a while. As always, I'll be discussing the Oscar connection, awards history for the film, box office information, and the critical response. And as always, these reviews, you know it, spoiler free. Before we jump in, quick plug, please, if you like what you're hearing here and want to be a part of all the cinematic conversation, subscribe to the channel because at the end of this, I'm going to talk about some really cool exclusive footage that's coming. You're definitely not going to want to miss out on. So, it is the end of May. It is May 30th if you are watching me on posting day. And we have reached the end of Actor Month. Yes, all throughout May, we looked at earlier performances by this past year's Oscar nominees and winners in all of the acting categories, lead and supporting. And to wrap, I thought we would take a look at someone who almost pulled an upset, which almost tripped up Adrian Brody from taking that second trip up the stairs. 'Cause even though Brody had been a strong contender all season, at the SAG Awards, one Mr. Timothée Chalamet kind of almost pulled an upset at the SAG, and many thought could have pulled the upset at the Oscars for his performance as Bob Dylan in A Complete Unknown. And now it was tempting. I could have gone for his first Oscar nominated performance in Call Me By Your Name, but I thought most of you that follow me or most that are Oscar contenders probably have seen that one. Maybe didn't go as far back as to this one, which was the very first feature film that Timothée Chalamet was in, Paramount Pictures' Men, Women, and Children. Released in the fall of 2014, the film was directed by Jason Reitman from a screenplay by Reitman and Erin Cressida Wilson from the novel of the same name, written by Chad Kulkin. Now, during its theatrical run, the film made $705,908 domestically, and then an additional $1 million in international markets, giving it a worldwide total of $1,705,908. Critically, the film is on the lower end of some of Reitman's other works. It sits with a 33% critical rating from 137 reviews and a slightly higher but still spilled popcorn rotten 44% popcorn meter culled from over 5,000 audience reviews. But as we know, we aren't always here to look at the top films. Sometimes those lower rated ones are actually quite good. So, I've already explained the connection of why it's here, and I would normally talk about the film's awards journey right now. But despite the fact that it debuted at the Toronto International Film Festival, Men, Women, and Children was completely ignored by all other awards outlets. So, is it as bad as they say? Well, you kind of have a hint if you read everything I've put here so far, but let's get into it. Men, Women, and Children is a large ensemble film about a group of unhappy, uninformed, and in some cases over the top suburbanites in a small Texas town. And amongst this group, and it is shocking that because this is Texas, we have hardly any ethnic diversity. There are a cavalcade of teens and their parents who end up in various levels of intertwinement. I'm going to do my best to kind of start with one character and show the thread without spoiling where it goes. So, first up, we have dissatisfied couple Donald and Helen Truby, played by Adam Sandler and Rosemary DeWitt, respectively, who can barely remember the last time that they were intimate. And that, one of them, of the two, becomes obsessed with pornography and adult websites, and both of them end up looking for said satisfaction elsewhere. Now, these two have their son Chris, a football player played by Travis Tope, who, like one of his parents, is a little obsessed with pornography, but his is more interested in a specific kind of subgenre. And Chris ends up, well, I don't know if I can necessarily say dating, but has encounters, starts seeing Hannah, played by Olivia Crocichicchia, who has her own side hustle with her website, posting pictures, headshots, and while some of this is fine, some of the content that she posts is a little suggestive and a little less than desirable. And a little shockingly is that this is all moderated by her number one fan and photographer, her mother, Donna, played by Judy Greer. Now, Hannah is stoked, loves her site, loves her fans, and can't help bragging about what she might be doing with the boys, and brags about this to her fellow cheerleaders, one of whom is Allison, played by Elena Camporis, who takes it to heart and while dealing with her own issues related to anorexia, will do all she can to be a little bit more like Hannah and sets her heart on her former crush, who wasn't so great to her previously, which is a character named Brendan, played by Will Peltz. Meanwhile, Donna, Hannah's mom, believes that this website is the best thing for her daughter. She didn't get to have the career in LA she wanted, but she's going to make sure that Hannah can have it, and it all can culminate with her chance to be on a reality television talent show. However, she does wonder if maybe some of what they do is a little too far, which brings her to a meeting run by Patricia, played by Greer's co star from 13 Going on 30, Jennifer Garner, whose day job, it seems, is to sit at a computer and monitor and track everything her daughter Brandy, played by Caitlin Deaver, does. She reads her daughter's every text, email, social media message, and if that's not creepy enough, there's some other things that, Patricia moves to do. And we can't help begin to wonder how, you know, this will allow Brandy to do anything. And one thing Brandy wants to do is start a relationship with Tim, her fellow schoolmate, played by Ansel Elgort, who was the fourth star of the football team, who recently, quite despite his father Kent's dreams, his father played by Dean Norris, he just wants to get lost in the world of online gaming. He's dealing with a lot of issues from his mother and father abandoning him. I mean, from his mother abandoning him and his father and running off to California, and his former teammates, including one, Danny, played by Chalamet. He prefers fantasy to reality, you know, instead of the bullying by his teammates and the torture and the abandonment. And he's dealing with his own issues with his depression. And, Brandy tries to help him with this, but there are challenges in the way in the form of Patricia, and Kent, his father wants him to pay more attention and get back involved in the football, but he doesn't quite know how to communicate this. And then, because this web needs one more weave, we see that Kent starts to date Hannah's mom, Donna. I think I'm going to end it there. I mean, look, that was just such a web. And if you were able to follow all of that, thank you. I was trying to see how clear I could make it. There's a part of me that, look, this film, I was excited to watch because I am a fan of Reitman and films like Juno, Up in the Air, Young Adult. These are some of my favorite films to revisit. And I thoroughly enjoyed this past season's Saturday night. Also, I mean, the star power here: Garner, Greer, Norris, J.K. Simmons, who I neglected to mention in the summary, plays Allison's father. You have Sandler and DeWitt, and you have that youth talent, Chalamet, Deaver, Campuri. Says, there's just such a draw for this. And this film is just not good. It's not good. I mean, I can see what Reitman and co-writer Wilson were trying to accomplish in attempting this book, but I feel like you just get bludgeoned over the head with truly deplorable characters making some truly deplorable decisions and making such horrendous choices. And okay, look, in real life, things don't always get resolved, and some people just don't get that clarity. And some films do give us more ambiguity, but I feel like the journeys that these characters are on are just so bizarre. And the fact that there seems to be so few, I mean, some get some consequences and some are pretty severe, but others, I'm like, how did they just, let me break it into two areas really quickly. Um, the adults. Look, Sandler into it. They have an unhappy marriage, not uncommon. Norris's character, is dealing with abandonment issues by his wife. Unfortunately, very common. Simmons is a bit blind to his daughter's actions. She has the anorexia and other things, sadly common. But, some of them take these extreme measures, and then you have the kids. No, not even the adults still. I'm forgetting about Garner and Greer here. These two, usually known for the rom com, they are so unforgivable in this film. It actually really made me not like them, and I had to really separate myself for a moment. So, congrats, Reitman, on getting such a visceral response from me. And then the kids, you have to wonder, these kids that get into these situations, how huh, how educated are they, and how much do their parents actually talk to them versus judge or control them? I mean, what it all boils down to, honestly, And maybe this is what Reitman and Wilson are trying to say is that people don't know how to communicate. And that is true. But the way that this film deals with it, I don't know if this was necessarily the best way to go about it. Now, I haven't spoken much about Chalamet in this, and he's the reason that I brought this film back in. But look, he has less than 5 lines of dialogue. He has a couple of scenes. So if you are like, oh, I want to watch it because Chalamet's in it, he is not in this much. Mini spoiler there for you. Unless you want to watch his whole oeuvre, it is here. He does have one intense scene though that is a real standout, which was interesting because it really showed a different kind of character than some of the characters we have seen him play. All right, I'm gonna start to wrap it up there. Unless this is something that you are dying to see because you love these actors and you're like, oh, I didn't know they did that. I'm not gonna lie, for me, it's a little bit of a train wreck. It's worth skipping. Maybe let me have watched it for you. So, not shockingly, with my rating, and you see it in the tagline, look, for the third time this season on Rewind, this film, and it pains me. I'm sorry, Ivan Jason Reitman. I am a fan of yours and your dad's. Ivan, Men, Women, and Children is 1 star. That's it. I attempt a slice of everyday life, but no. But maybe you disagree with me, and maybe this is up your alley. If so, as of this recording and posting, if you would like to see Men, Women, and Children, it is available for digital rental or purchase on most platforms. There's no streaming information as of this time. All right. So there you have it. That ends Actor Month. We have covered a lot, but we still have so much more to go. We're about a third of the way through the season already, if you can believe it. As we move along next month, June, I'm going to start looking at the other nominated directors that I haven't covered yet this Rewind season, as well as some directors credited with some of the international and animated features that we've had. As always, if you like what you heard here, please click that subscribe button, like and share the video. You can follow me, Cinephile Mike, on all social media platforms and on Letterboxd, and find lots of great information on my website, cinephilemike.com, including exclusive news drop. Oh, this is exciting. Starting next week, you got to visit my website and this channel because there's going to be lots of coverage as Cinephile Mike gets to sit down with some of the performers, directors, and reviews the Tribeca Film Festival. So much coming out of that. So many award contenders come from that festival. It's going to be great. You don't want to miss it. But until next time, everyone, this is Cinephile Mike saying take a break and watch something new.